happy Saturday. Let me move this back a bit so that way when I hold up any cards, you guys can see it better. How is everybody? I'm gonna give y'all a warning. I'm sick. My ear and my throat are hurting so bad. So I'm gonna try to do this for as long as I can, but tonight is not gonna be able to be a very long live. I apologize. I woke up this morning not feeling the best, and ever since then I've been taking all kinds of medicine, but unfortunately it's just gotten worse as the day has gone on. Oh. But I hope everybody else is doing good. Hey guys, hey Donna, hi Hondro. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I can't talk super loud either. But oh, I'm glad you made it. Hey Big Barbie, hi Hondro, hi Donna, hi Sammy, hi Kimberly, hi Tamira. Okay. Make sure you guys vote in the poll who you want to start with, just to let y'all know. We will end every live taking some Nicki questions as a thank you to the Barbs. So the last, probably 20 minutes of each live will be Nicki, unless there's like something, a dedicated live to her. She'll always be at the end. Hi, Maddie. Hey, Ronette. I'm glad you guys made it. Hi, Danielle. How is everybody tonight? And just to let everybody know that's coming in, I unfortunately have a bit of a sore throat and my ear is hurting. I took medicine, but it's not really helping. So I'm not going to be able to stay on for a super long time tonight. Hi, Yamira. But did you guys see, as I'm waiting for more people to get in, and then we'll start, and make sure you guys like the video. It helps the channel. Nicki said to start saving our money because she's going on tour. I'm like, please tell me that you're going on tour next year, because I gotta move this year. And I wanted to do something big when she comes to my area, like get an Airbnb and have like a Barb sleepover. And I'm just like, girl, like, don't make this coincide with all the other things I gotta pay for right now. So, hey Miranda, hi Erica, welcome. I swear, and I'm not the only one, like a bunch of the Barbs that I've talked to are like, I have to get a new car, I have to move, I have to start school. It's like all these big expenses and things that we gotta do, and we're all like, it's okay if you drop the album at like the end of the year and go on tour next year, Nicki. Hey Lindsay, how are you, babe? So but I'm excited because I've never gotten to see her live, so I want to. I mean, that's probably the only concert that I will go to, you guys, because everybody else, and you can join the Patreon for more information about that, it's in the pinned comment above, is doing all kinds of satanic rituals at their concerts and stuff, and I know Nicki's not going to do that, so she's the only one that I would feel comfortable going and seeing in person right now. Doja Cat is somebody I definitely would not go see in person. Not when she's doing all her weird Satan shit. So I'm like, I would be scared to even watch any of Doja's music videos or participate in anything she's got going on. So I know, that's why I was like, hopefully it's like at the top of next year, like Tamira said, because, or I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, hon, I'm sorry. Because I want to like do something like really fun and big and have like a Barb hangout meetup, So sorry, Lindsay. I was saying earlier before you came in, I woke up with a sore throat and my ear hurting. Every time I get really stressed out, I get like a cold or strep throat, and I'm just hoping it's just a cold. Because at least I won't need antibiotics if it's just a cold. But yeah, Doja is definitely doing the absolute most. And on top of it, when people said that her Kill Bill verse sucked, I'm like, girl, don't tell me that you're doing all of this and then your next album's gonna be absolute dog shit. Because sometimes, I don't know if y'all notice that when people like go hardcore on the like devil shit, at the same time their music and everything that they put out also suffers. And it's just like, so you sold your soul for this. So yes, I know it's gonna be exciting to see what she does. I'm so excited for the documentary. I want to see everything. I was watching rewatching her interview that she did with Joe Budden, the one when he still had the show with Rory and Mal. And I was just getting like so sad for her, the way that they kept over talking her and just being so rude to her. And and the way that they were like attacking her for ever standing up for herself. You know, I just have to say this. You know who I want to see just read somebody down so hard? I want to see Lizzo rip Candace Owens to shreds. Because Candace Owens be doing the fucking most when it comes to Lizzo. And every once in a while I'll watch Candace Owens, like when she's exposing like the Kardashians or the CIA or something like that, just to see what she's, you know, talking about. But I don't like her or like agree with who she is as a person. It's just information gathering basically. But she's always bullying the shit out of Lizzo. And I'm like, Lizzo is so unproblematic. And really, like, what the fuck does Lizzo do to anybody? She just be over there being like, I love myself and y'all ain't gonna give me low self-esteem just because I'm a big girl. And she's hella talented and she's just, you know, works and minds her business and she's freaking nice to everybody. And Lizzo has the best award show speeches too. But Candace just bullies the ever-living shit out of her. And I'm like, leave that girl alone. What is wrong with you? Honestly, I think that Lizzo triggers Candace because, let's be honest, Candace obviously hates herself. And I think that the fact that Lizzo isn't conventionally attractive when Candace thinks that she is, and it's like, well, how could you love yourself? I can't love myself, you know? And I think that that's what it is. But I'm like, just for the one time, I just want to see Lizzo clap back at her and put her in her damn place. Whitney! Oh my God. Give me 1 second, you guys. Yes, remember to subscribe and like. It is a subscribers only chat. If I don't do that, all of the weird bots come in the chat. Well, exactly. Everybody and their grandma wants to freaking talk about what diet Lizzo should be on and what she should be doing with herself. And it's like, leave her alone, because this is the thing. I would not be able to stand on a fucking stage for 2 hours dancing and singing and playing the flute and doing everything else that Lizzo is doing. So obviously her weight is not slowing her down. She does more than most people do, let's be honest. So, but it just pisses me off the way that she always comes for Lizzo, because I'm like, Lizzo's just nice to everybody and she don't be bothering nobody, so she doesn't deserve that. And also, Candace should watch out, because every time that people fuck with Lizzo, her ancestors don't play about her, and look at how they get canceled real freaking quick. So like, if I was Candace, I would be taking a hard look at everybody else that's messed with Lizzo and what happened to them and be like, let me mind my own business and pick on somebody else that deserves it. So, Miranda, I really believe that it's because she just can't figure out how Lizzo can be so confident and love herself, because Candace obviously hates herself. So, well, it's not like I'm like the healthiest person in the world, so I can't be talking about Lizzo. But again, I wouldn't, but I'm just saying, it's like, and a lot of times, like, look at when Aries Spears was dragging her. I'm like, sir, you're fat and ugly too, so shut up. Like, the way that he was dragging her, like, he's like Brad Pitt or something. I was like, I don't know, like, why you think that you're qualified to talk about anybody looking like you do with your washed up ass career. So, oh my God, the same people are the ones who eat spaghetti every other day. Listen, we have spaghetti every week in my house, so I ain't even gonna talk. So, but we're also Italian, so we have an excuse. Hey, Hannah. He's so gross. And he was sitting there all sweaty and out of breath while he was dragging her, too. It was like, oh, please. So, all right, guys. Let's get into Beyonce. So, she's number one. Allegedly retiring after this album. So that's what I wanted to look at. That's the rumor that's going around right now. But we also know how rumors work. You know, sometimes there's no truth to it. And the way that Beyonce is so, you know, competitive anyways, I'm like, I don't know, like, if she feels like she's solidified herself enough as like the legend yet that she would want to retire. But I was like, let's just see. And then if you guys have any other questions about her, I will ask Spirit about her tax problems too. Is there any truth to the rumors that Beyonce is going to be retiring after this album tour? Thank you. The robot from the Sasha Fierce era. I don't even know what you're talking about. I just call her Robot because she always seems out of it. And people always say that, you know, she just does whatever Jay-Z and her handlers are telling her and that she has no personality now. So that's why I call her Robot. Because she used to have, like, such a big personality. And these days she's just, like, you know, that all the time. And it's like, girl. So, I don't think I've ever watched the Sweet Dreams video. I was like, now that I think about it. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really like that song that much, so I don't think I have. I just saw the Feeling Myself video earlier today because somebody uploaded it and it popped up on my recommended. Because I don't know if you guys ever saw that video since it was like a Tidal exclusive when it came out. But it popped up on my recommended earlier, so I finally watched it. She had visuals of her as a tiger robot. Oh, I didn't know that. I've definitely never seen that video then. I've never seen her dressed up as an actual robot. So I'm not a huge Beyonce fan. I don't hate her, but I just have never been like super into her music. Like she has a few songs here and there that I've liked. But I have to say the irony of life is, because I always make fun of Future and his music because I just don't get the hype around him. And the one Beyonce song that I've liked the most that she's put out in recent years was Drunk in Love, which apparently was written by him. And then I forget, there was some other song that I liked too from somebody else, and then I found out that Future wrote it, and I was like, okay, so apparently I don't like Future's music that he does for himself, but I like it when he does it for other people. That's funny. Yeah, I always liked Rihanna's music more. It was just more my vibe. So, I know this whole era does feel weird. You know, I heard, like, and I'll ask Spirit and the cards about the whole Renaissance situation in a minute, but, I had heard somewhere that it's like, oh, like this first part of like, because it's supposed to be like 3-part album, right? Like part 1, 2, and 3. And there's supposed to be like the next part is supposed to be much more like B-Day. And then I guess the last one is supposed to be like country music. And they made it seem like the house music part 1 was just kind of like supposed to be a gift to the fans and the gays, and then that the real serious part of, you know, this whole tour and era was supposed to be the second part. But then it all of a sudden seemed like no, she was taking the first part of it seriously, and I was like, what the hell is going on? It's so confusing how this whole rollout has kind of been. Did you guys like all the outfits that she designed with Balmain? Let me know in the comments while I'm reading these cards. So, oh, actually, the cards in Spirit are answering how she feels about the Renaissance thing. She doesn't feel like things are working out for her as far as like, okay, I've mentioned this a bunch of times recently. We're not like seeing the beehive, whatever the hell you want to call them, like rushing to go like threaten everybody's lives and destroy them the same way that they used to if you ever said anything negative about her. And now all of a sudden, you know, there's this narrative that she's overrated and she's really not that good and people just don't care anymore. And that's coming up in the underlying energy and her wanting to take a pause after this whole tour is wrapped up, especially Spirit saying if the second and third parts of it are not as well received, because she went too far in this direction of trying to like do everything different and be super artsy with Lemonade, with the Black is King album, with Renaissance, and she thought people were just gonna continue to eat it up and be like, look at how creative she is and she's such a mastermind and she's amazing and she's a legend. But she pushed it too far, where the people who did love B-Day Beyonce are not super into whatever she's doing right now. And she's also getting heat for the way that things have worked out for Chloe Bailey's music. And she's not thrilled with the way that, you know, the public just doesn't seem to care about her the same way that they used to. So she does want to try to take a break and come back differently, but she's not going to retire because she still wants to be seen as the greatest entertainer of all time. So I feel like we'll have another 10 years of her before she does retire. And then we'll see her finally step back. And also Spirit is saying, because she's trying to build up Blue Ivy as her replacement, she needs her daughter to be older and ready to take the spotlight. And then it's like, I'm passing the baton, so to speak, because she doesn't want anybody else to step up and take over in the meantime. So she's not retiring, but we will see her take a break, recalibrate, and come back completely, you know, kind of more old Beyonce. I also wouldn't be surprised if that's not when we don't see her come back as single Beyonce, because Jay-Z is showing up in the reverse position. He always shows up as the emperor in readings with her. And it's talking about, if I can come back as this new version of me, people will embrace that and be like, oh, rid of the dead weight. She got rid of that cheating husband. Let's all support single mom Beyonce, who's, you know, trying to just make it work, raising 3 kids on her own and having a successful singing career. So there's no retiring. Also, there's financial issues that'll keep her from that as well. Dario, who was on here with me a few months ago when we did our reading on Nick Cannon, who's a financial consultant, and me were talking about how these celebrities, you know, they're living paycheck to paycheck the same way. A lot of them, not Nicki, but a lot of them, and you know, that'll come up in Kim's reading too. They're living paycheck to paycheck just the way that regular Americans are. It's just at a higher level. Cardi B is one of those people too, where it's like, you might be bringing in $120,000 a month, but your bills, you know, were all $119,000 a month. So the second that you have a few months where you're not getting a check, you could really be at the brink of losing everything, because it costs way more to upkeep the lifestyles that they have created for themselves with all the nannies and the teams that work for them and the fancy houses. And so it's just, and I've said this before too, when they get these record deals, it's a loan. So it's like, you got a $5 million advance. No, you got a $5 million loan from Columbia Records, and now you got to go work your ass off to pay it back. But that doesn't mean that you actually have $5 million in your pocket to keep. And so Spirit's saying that she's definitely, you know, in some debt. She's not making what people think she is, and she's not holding on to the amount of money that people think that they are. And a lot of what goes on with the Carters, or the farters, as some people call them, is such a farce. Back in the day, you guys, they couldn't even qualify for a mortgage. They were renting places in LA for a long time because they had too much debt and not enough income. And so they couldn't qualify for a mortgage. And this was around the same time that they were saying that her and Jay-Z were going to get divorced. And she was hanging out with Gwyneth Paltrow. So just because, you know, and again, I've told you guys before, like when you only own 20% of a company and they say that company's worth $1 billion, you're not a billionaire. That means that your stake in that company is worth 200 million if you own 20% of it. But they let people like Kim claim to be a billionaire because of skims. But there's like 10 people that like own that company, not just her. And so Beyonce is definitely not making the money that people think she is. So it's not a surprise, because if somebody was supposedly, them and their husband were worth billions of dollars, and you have $2 million that you owe in taxes, wouldn't you just paid it off and then fought them afterwards and try to get the refunds? Especially This was since 2018, you guys. This wasn't just some new tax bill that popped up from last year. So in 5 years, you haven't paid $2 million in overdue taxes? What the heck? But they're supposed to both be billionaires? Like, come on. So, dude, Luna, no, because listen, every time that people brought up however much she supposedly got paid for that that Dubai performance, and if you guys have questions about Beyonce, put it in the chat, put question in front of it so I know it's a question, it doesn't get mixed up with the rest of the comments. First they were saying that she was going to get paid $8 million for that. Then it was $12 million. Then it was $20 million. Then it became $24 million. Then people said $28 million. Then it was $50 million. And every time that anybody talked about how much she was getting paid for being in Dubai, it was like 3 times as much as they said before. And I'm like, okay, really? We can't answer questions like that on YouTube, Big Barbie. We don't, you guys, we don't talk about substances. We don't talk about essays or any kind of assaults. We're not trying to lose the channel. Remember that. YouTube is very, very strict with the censorship stuff. So, yeah, I've covered that in Patreon. Patreon.com/psychicbellalove. It's all uncensored over there. You want to know about conspiracy theories, the Illuminati stuff, uncensored tea and gossip, it's all over there. And that's the only place that I take requests. So, listen, Jay-Z looks to me like he runs with his arms at his sides and lets his hands flail out. He doesn't seem like a super manly man to me. I don't know if y'all like notice that, but that's what I always feel like. We'll see Chloe open for Beyonce like at a couple shows, but it's not going to be for the whole entire tour. And it's not going to be the big thing that everybody's expecting or wanting. She's only doing it to dead the rumors that she somehow sabotaged or doesn't care about Chloe. So when she goes out on stage, she'll make a big old deal about like coming out and hugging her and like acting like, oh my God, I'm so happy that Chloe's here. But I feel like there's going to be like a bunch of different people that open for her. And it's not going to be like one main person that opens for her for like most of the tour or whatever. And a lot of the people that she's going to have open for her are not going to be people that anybody could compare to her. And it really is just, if I had my way, I wouldn't have Chloe here. I'm only doing it so everybody stops talking about this and they can say, look, I do support. She already sold out of the tour, Danielle, so I mean, it is what it is. I mean, her fans ate it up. I don't feel like Spirit's saying, you know, it's not like a bunch of people who are like, I kind of like her, or I would go to a concert or something that like bought tickets, though. It really is like the hardcore fans that did. She didn't really pick up a bunch of new fans with this album. So she's intimidated by her. I mean, and the thing is, too, is that she, when it comes to Chloe and Halle, they're the two that she did feel like they could be my replacement, so to speak. And because she so wants to hold that spot for Blue, she signs them only because it's like, then I still have control over it and you can't surpass me if you're underneath me. And so to her, it was like, you sink or swim, I'll benefit either way. It doesn't really matter to me. So it's not sold out yet. I thought it was supposedly sold out because that's what all the freaking blogs were saying. But I also read somewhere that they were holding on to a lot of seats and then they only released some of them to make it seem like it was sold out. But this is supposedly happening with like a lot of artists, not just her, because of the Ticketmaster bullshit, because then they'll turn around and put them up on like those other like kind of scalpy sites and then charge way more. And apparently like it'll look like, oh, Bella bought 12 tickets to the Renaissance tour and she's selling 8 of them on this other site, but really it's Ticketmaster that is selling the tickets secondhand, so to speak, to charge more and make people want to run over there and pay 3 times as much because it's like, well, I couldn't get them otherwise. But also that apparently like, this is what it said on some blind gossip site, I forget which one I saw it on, that they were also going to give away a shit ton of tickets to some of her shows in like bigger cities to influencers, like TikTokers, because then it's like they'll be on there and they'll be recording it and promoting it and making Beyonce seem like she's super cool to everybody on TikTok, you know, to try to build up the fan base and the love for her again. So yeah, I've heard from certain people say that she's going, or that it's cheaper to go see her overseas than it is to pay like the, you know, super expensive prices in America, because then you get a European vacation out of it. Listen, Beyonce does hella satanic rituals in her shows, so y'all better pray that Archangel Michael covers you if you're gonna go see her, and pray that you are cleansed of any energy that she put on anybody, because all I'm gonna say is there is a very high chance that an astral world type situation may happen at one of her shows coming up. So be very careful. She is somebody I would never see in person. So, if you guys have questions, make sure that you put question in the front of it. But, so I'm just going to ask one more question about her and then I'm going to move on to Kim, because I have to make sure that I can kind of keep this on the shorter side tonight since I have a sore throat. We're only doing, I've more than answered that, Snow White. You can go watch my Chloe Bailey readings and the one that I did on her and Quavo. And you guys, you have to put question in the front of it. And this wasn't, you guys, just to let you know, this wasn't a free-for-all, just questions about Beyonce or just questions about anybody that we're talking about. It was about her tax problems and about if she was retiring. So, I already covered that in Patreon, Hannah. So, anyways, you know what, Luna? Why don't you just leave? Because you're just being rude now. Okay, guys. So, anyways, I'm just going to ask one more question. What do we need to know about Beyonce? Thank you, Spirit. Anything else? We're wrapping up. I'm doing the last question on Beyonce. It's just a general poll to see what else we need to know about her, and then we're going to move on to Kim. Princess, I said that we were just doing the questions about if she's retiring or her taxes. We're just sticking to the subjects that are in the descriptions, you guys, in the caption. Because I'm sick and I can't stay on here all night. And especially because we're reading on demons and human bodies too. So y'all are lucky I still came on and I'm doing this not feeling good. So I didn't say that anybody was intimidated by SZA, Danielle. I said they were. So please stop misquoting me too, you guys. Unless you're talking about somebody else in the chat. This is also why we do subscribers only, because then people want to come in and get mad because you're telling the truth. But you guys, you can believe it or not, but everybody that's in the industry worships Satan. And Beyonce is not a fucking god. She's a demon worshiper. So, concerts are all rituals. They're to gather your energy so that they can feed the demons, so that way they can still keep making the money that they're making. Celebrities are the false idols that the Bible talks about. Stop worshiping these people. They're all low vibrational. Worship God and worry more about your own life and your own soul than being so invested in going around and feeling like you have to defend Beyonce. Because guess what? Spending all day defending Beyonce ain't gonna do shit for your life. So anyways. Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like, we don't. That's why so many people don't even want to fuck with Beyonce, is because of her toxic ass fan base. But I mean, it's like, for God's sakes, it even seems like most of them have like decided to move on from that. So why? What's going on? Hold on. Let me see what's going on. Why do we need to block this person? They're being nice. Yeah, I was like, they haven't said anything except for just to ignore the weirdos that were starting shit in the chat. So oh, I was like, I didn't see that, but thank you, Latero. You guys don't have to defend me. And that's the thing too, guys. I block people when they start shit because we just don't want a bunch of negativity over here. I don't care if people disagree, but be respectful if you don't agree with everything. Don't cuss at people. Don't sit there and accuse people of lying. Don't get mad because somebody points out something that you don't like. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinions and feelings about stuff, but you can be respectful about it. But also, guys, don't lower your vibrations arguing with these people. Because it's the second I see it, I will block it. Don't worry. So I don't need you guys to lower your vibes because people are being psychos, okay? So anyways, back to the last, poll on Beyonce and what we need to know about her. She is doing a hell of a lot of spiritual work because she is worried about losing her relevance. Spirit saying, part of this is too, because let's keep in mind that the industry is a young person's game, right? So the same way that people want to call Nicki grandma just because she's 40, which the people that say that, I'm like, look at how many people died so young in this industry. Like, it's really a miracle to make it to 40 in the entertainment industry and in life in general anyways. Have we not learned anything from the pandemic in the last few years? But that makes Beyonce worried too. Like, are people gonna see me as too old to put on a bodysuit and dance around on a stage? And they're not gonna take me as serious. But also, it's, a lot of the, just people aren't buying it the same way that they used to. Regardless of the fact that she, makes it seem like she's never on social media, she reads everything on social media. She very much keeps up with what is going on online and tries to see, are people excited about what I put out? When the blogs post about her, she will read them. And so she's been trying to do a lot of spiritual work to make this next era pop and to be, the Queen of Cups is in. I'm being loved. People are showing me love. They're appreciating me. But she is very concerned about her future and if she's going to be able to have this, you're the next Michael Jackson, you're this, you're that, legendary status that she's trying to get. She better be careful though, because somebody is holding on to a lot of information about her, but they're waiting for the elites to tell them if it's okay for this to be released. And that's another thing that she's worried about, that at any time, if my popularity, my relevance, and my ability to make money for people that control my career slips, they will turn on me and let all this information out about me that's negative, that will make people want to cancel me and dislike me, come out. So she is in a situation of kind of desperation right now and worried a lot as far as money goes, as far as her relevance, and as far as trying to make sure that certain things are kept secret. So she doesn't sleep very much, guys. She's really counting on this tour and then the release of the second and third parts bring her back into that spotlight. Don't worry, that was obviously the same person that got kicked out the first time. They got booted again. So no, Winnie does not like Beyonce, you guys. Winnie really does not like Beyonce. The same way that she doesn't like the same way she doesn't like Quavo, she does not like Beyonce. So, but anyways, don't be surprised if we don't get some PR antics, because if you haven't noticed, of course, the Kardashians are the most obvious about it, where they always start up all this drama before they have a new season start, even though we'll never see that drama play out on the current season. Every celebrity does it to a certain extent. So I feel like there's going to be some PR stunts. So, hey, if you like the album, I mean, that's that's on you. I like the type of the cat's name is Whitney, as in Miss Whitney Houston, the greatest vocalist of all time, because her and Michael Jackson are my absolute favorites. So I was like, if I had a boy cat, he would have been named probably like Biggie or Michael. But Michael is one of my son's middle names, but that's after Archangel Michael, not just Michael Jackson. So anyways, I was like, let's move on to Kim. So she is, and by the way, guys, we will have merch coming. I'm ordering the samples tomorrow because I just have to finalize a couple things on it. And then I will finalize it and order the samples. And then if everything works out in a couple weeks, we will have a merch, and Whitney will be a part of the merch for anybody that is into Whitney and her shenanigans. So, and happy belated birthday to Lindsay, and happy birthday to any of the Tauruses in the chat, or any Tauruses who may be a part of the replay crew later on. Why are you being so whiny tonight? Usually you're still sleeping at this time. Oh, you're yawning. You can go finish your nap or just chill. Oh, you know what she's doing? She's in the window. I think the neighbor's cat is also in the window. If you have not yet, go to my Instagram. It's instagram.com/psychicbellalove. By the way, I will never DM anybody for a reading. I only accept readings through my website, psychicbellalove.com. It's in all the description boxes, and it is on the pinned comment of every live. I did a reel of Whitney punking the absolute shit out of the neighbor's cat. And let me tell you, that cat, because Whitney's actually really small. She's like the size of a 7-month-old kitten, but she'll be 2 in July. She's just a petite girl. That cat is probably 3 times her size, and it's old, like 2 years older than her. And she scares the shit out of that cat every time it comes in the window. I think she's fucking with the cat right now. Because I think I saw it out of the corner of my eye, jumping in and out of their window, looking at her, because the windows directly look into each other in the dining rooms. No, it's okay, Danielle. So, but I have the funniest reel. I can't, listen, I was so proud of myself that I edited it myself. And all of the music and everything lined up, because I did it to did it on him, or shit it on him, if you want to be. But because I did it through Instagram, YouTube was going to make me redo it through the shorts thing. I couldn't just completely post it because it was giving me copyright warnings. So I just left it on Instagram, because I was like, listen, I don't know how to edit to save my life. I was so proud I figured it out once. I do not have the energy to try to do it again on YouTube. So, yeah, if you get any DMs from anybody claiming to be me, it's not me. Because every week, there seems to be a new account pretending to be me. So, and that's why if you have any issues, Square's the payment processor. So it's no Cash App, no PayPal, none of that stuff. So let's take a look at Kim. One of the big things is that, I don't know if y'all saw, allegedly she's trying to get with Usher now, because people were saying that she was going to, I guess she went to like multiple of his concerts, and then she was like, I guess like stalking him all night at the Met Gala was what people were saying. So I wanted to look at that real quick. Can you tell me about Kim K and Usher? Thank you. Also, guys, I know she was at the Met Gala, but people were saying, like, I guess, like, if you get invited to the Met Gala, they space out your entrance and you walk the red carpet, you know, by yourself or with the designer that you went with. Obviously, for, like, this one, it was different because it was in tribute to Carl. So, like, in the past, remember when Nicki went with Jeremy Scott from Moschino? And he walked the carpet with her and Demi Lovato. They didn't do that this year because a lot of what people were wearing was like archived pieces that Carl had designed for different houses and stuff. But they saying that, like, you could tell from the way that Kim's entrance was and the way that, like, she didn't get interviewed by a bunch of people and stuff, that she definitely bought her ticket and she didn't get invited. And then people were saying that, like, the Kardashians were calling all the designers and asking them, like, oh, can you get me in? And they had to settle for buying their tickets. Apparently only Kendall was actually invited. So, I mean, I told y'all that's what was going to happen if we saw them there. So, it was just like, And then the Playboy pearls. I had to go look. Everybody started saying it later on, but at first I was like, how come nobody's saying this looks like the Playboy cover and like she just put those pearls on over some Skims? And the only reason why I remembered even the pearls was because that meme of her mom, "You're doing amazing, sweetie," like went so viral. So, which still to this day, can you imagine posing for Playboy with your mom there taking pictures and telling you you're doing great? And then people were surprised that Ray J said that Chris watched the tapes and told them to record a new one and then picked out which one that she looked the best in. I was like, no. Now when I think about that all over again, I totally believe that. Because, again, whose mom watches them pose in sexy outfits for a Playboy shoot and tells them if they're looking good or not? And didn't Chris set that whole thing up and, like, talk him into doing it when she didn't want to? Weird-ass family. Weird-ass family. And you know what? Kanye might be wrong on a lot of things, but he is not wrong when it comes to wanting to protect his daughters from that family and that industry. So, yeah, they're definitely losing the hype. Okay. Kim, when her and Kanye broke up, I don't know if you guys remember this story started out before they even announced that they were officially divorcing, and that was just when people were saying that they were separated and Kanye was living in Wyoming and him and Kim hadn't seen each other in months at that point or whatever. There was all these stories that kept getting leaked by TMZ and Page Six, as in, you know, Kris Jenner was having her assistant call them and feed them stories. And it was that, oh, supposedly there was just billionaires and athletes and all kinds of A-listers that were just lined up around the block, just waiting for their turn with Kim. And then as soon as she's single, who do we see her with? Pete Davidson, of all people. That alone tells you that nobody was checking for Kimberly. And so, like I always say, they try to always promote themselves as these strong pillars of womanhood. And we're so empowered. Meanwhile, Chloe's always running back to the cheater. And all their storylines are about who they're dating at the moment. Kim has not found anybody, and she is worried about her relevance. She's showing up as the queen of coins, and it's very much, I have to keep a certain image and a certain, you know, relevance and people paying attention to me because my money is so tied up into that. So she is trying to find her next victim. I mean, boyfriends. And because nobody is biting, it's really showing up here that it's like nobody wanted to be with her ass the way that she thought it was going to be so easy for her to get another guy after Kanye. That she thinks that Usher is the guy that she's going to do this with. But the thing is, Usher don't want her. I mean, have we ever even seen Usher date a white woman? I feel like we haven't. I feel like Chili was probably the closest to him dating somebody that's not fully black, right? Because I don't feel like I think he likes him some black women. I don't think he's into white women. And Spirit's saying he definitely wouldn't want to get involved in the mess that the Kardashians bring. So, isn't she like Afro-Latina or half black? But I feel like Usher likes, you know, black and brown women. Like, I don't think he wants a white girl, and he definitely doesn't want the Kardashians. He feels like that is just a recipe for complete and utter disaster. I mean, thank God a man. Oh my God, girl, really? How many fucking times are you going to come back with different accounts? Doesn't Google have a limit on it? So, at least thank God there is a man in the industry that's like, no, that's how you like lose like everything you have is messing with them witches, because they'll suck your soul and destroy you. So yeah, Chili's dad is I was gonna say Chili's mixed, but that's why I was like, I feel like, you know, maybe darker skinned Latinas is about as like far as he'll stray from that. So Teddy, we're not reading on that right now. We're reading on Kim. But anyways, Kim is still gonna have a hell of a fucking time finding somebody to date. Kim is really, really, really gonna have a hell of a freaking time finding somebody else to date, and she feels like her whole relevance and her whole platform is really dependent on who she can be with. But people are waking up. They don't care. So, you know, it is what it is. Hang on, sorry, I'm just looking at it. He's very smart. I mean, again, thank God. Thank God. Not that Usher hasn't had his own problems, But come on, I mean, allegedly, you know, the stuff that he's been accused of, like having an STI and giving it to that one girl, that's nowhere near any of the shit that this family has done to people. I mean, honestly, if we heard the same thing about one of them, it would be like the least problematic thing that they've done, right? So, well, because you know what? Everybody's been like going to Usher's concerts. He's trending again. He's cool now. People were talking about how he should headline the next Super Bowl. And so wouldn't Kim just love that if she was with somebody and they were heading, you know, headlining the Super Bowl next year and she got to go support her man while he performs at the halftime show, because then she would try to make sure that she was front and center getting all the camera time. And everybody saying, oh, look, there's Kimberly supporting her boyfriend Usher while he performs the halftime. Oh, look, Kim's at the verses with her boyfriend Usher. And she would just constantly be getting all kinds of mentions and camera time and all of that for everything. So, of course, that's why she's going after him. Not because she actually likes him. Yeah, but you know what? I feel like Kim will go after a rich businessman only when everything is really, like, the ship is really sinking for them. Then it's going to be, I need to hook up with, because Jared Kushner owns a big chunk of Skims. Then she's going to want to date one of Jared Kushner's friends and marry him. Because it's going to be, I have a hell of a lot of bills to pay and we don't got a TV show and our Instagram isn't popping anymore to pay for things. And so I need to attach myself to some old rich white man at that point. But for right now, Kim is so stuck on trying to hold on to her fame that she's going to chase after anybody that she thinks can help her get that back. So... not Usher singing Munch to Kim. Kim is shameless. I feel like Kim is like way more obsessed with fame than money or anything else right now. I mean, the way that she drags North around like she's a purse. It's like, and then to leave her in the street. And this is my thing about this. For somebody that claimed that they had PTSD from getting robbed in Paris, wouldn't you be as freaking stickler about your kids' security and privacy? I don't give a shit that everybody said, oh, well, there was the bodyguard right there. The bodyguard was not standing directly next to or behind North. Somebody still could have ran up and snatched her and ran off with her. So that was not cool. And North looked really scared and upset. And the thing is, that little girl obviously hates the paparazzi. So for you to leave her on a street on a night that's so busy in a city that she is not familiar with, where there's paparazzi everywhere, and subject that child to that was ridiculous. So... no, North wasn't allowed inside the Met. You have to be 18 to go in there. She literally took her and let her stand outside just so that way she could get all the pictures that she was outside with North. And then she left her there and walked off to go walk the red carpet, and North was standing outside. And then people said, oh, well, North didn't get back in the car immediately when standing outside so she could watch her mom walk the red carpet. But then other people afterwards were saying that, like, they were at that location and they were like, you can't stand on the street and actually see people walking the red carpet because there's tents and stuff up everywhere. Because otherwise, then anybody and their grandma could probably get onto the red carpet. And so they were like, The only way that North would have been able to even see her mom walk the red carpet was if she was watching them stream it online like they were on like the E channel and stuff. And so they were like, that's an excuse and a lie because you can't see it. It's all like tinted. So, and that's why people were saying, because Kylie walked out of the hotel with Stormi, but then I guess like while she was getting in the car to leave to the Met, Stormi's nanny took her right back upstairs. And then I guess they were saying that like Scott and Penelope were also in New York. And so they were like, why wouldn't she just like have let North go hang out with Scott and Penelope or something? She's a horrible mom. She has no freaking motherly instincts. I mean, I don't even watch the show, and I have seen clips, you know, on YouTube shorts and stuff where she's talking about different things that like with her and the kids. And it seemed like Kanye was like much more like of the hands-on parent than she was. Like when she was crying about her PTSD and shit, that was from the same tour when I think it was called the St. Pablo tour, when Kanye had the breakdown and they canceled the whole tour. She was saying that he went to a show one night when he was doing his show in LA, and that North was in the bed with her and peed all over it. But I just got a spray tan that day, so I didn't want to get up and shower. And then when Kanye came home at 4 o'clock in the morning, that he made her get up and went and gave North a bath and changed the sheets. So even if you're not gonna wash yourself up, it didn't cross your mind to like give your child a bath. You let her sit in her fucking pee all night, and it wasn't until her dad came home hours later and did it. There was another clip that she was telling Scott that when he asked her when the baby, I think when they had the last baby, like he was asking her like, oh, how is it having, you know, 2 little babies and having 4 kids? And she's like, I'm so tired. Oh my God, last night, Chicago woke up crying, and then she woke up the rest of the kids and I didn't even hear it. And this morning I went looking because I didn't find Kanye in bed, and he was in the living room with all the kids, passed out on the floor, and there was bottles and diapers everywhere. And when he got up, he told me all of the kids were screaming their head off all night, and he was like up all night trying to get them all back to sleep. How is it that you as the mom didn't wake up when all 4 of your kids are screaming at the top of their lungs and Kanye's left all by himself trying to get all 4 of them back to sleep? Like, yeah, exactly. She probably put her earplugs in and rolled over and was like, whatever, Kanye will do it. Like, come on. I mean, my goodness. And then I saw another clip where she said that she sent all the kids to go stay with Kanye when we were in quarantine in Wyoming because she just couldn't handle it. It was too much for her. And then, if you guys didn't know, Courtney sent all her kids with Kanye in Wyoming too. And if you guys don't know, Kanye doesn't use nannies. So that's my whole thing too. When I'm like, you guys bash Kanye as like, oh, he's this horrible person and he's so dangerous to have around the kids and this and that. But like, it always seemed like Kanye was almost like the family nanny at times. Because when Scott freaked out that Courtney was pregnant with their last kid and he went on that bender to Mexico, Kanye took all the rest of her kids to New York with him so she could have a break. So that's why I'm like, now he's horrible and none of you want him around, but you sure didn't have a problem using him every time somebody wanted a break from their kids. So yeah, but Chloe doesn't even seem like she cared about that second baby that they named. What did they name it? Tatum? I know something weird. I keep thinking that the baby's name is Tater. It's Tatum, right? And that sounds like such a white person name. I just can't imagine a little black boy running around and you're like, come here, Tatum. Like, I don't know, that's weird. Especially, I don't know why. It just doesn't seem right. But Tatum Robert. And that just sounds weird too. Somebody in Patreon said Robert Tatum sounded better. And I was like, it definitely does. Tatum just seems like an odd name. True and Tatum and Tristan and Chloe. Like, it doesn't all go together. So, but the other thing I wanted to ask the cards is, apparently Kim is actually going broke. So, oh, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't want to name him Tristan Jr. Because she's so insecure about the fact that Trash Can has other baby mamas that's why, you know, she named True because she's the true Thompson, like his first kid doesn't exist or something. So I guarantee you that she was probably trying to name it the baby Tristan Jr. and then it was like, damn it. It turned out that he did have, you know, that Marley was the baby mama. And now I can't. Which, once again, I'm going to just say, there may have been a Kardashian baby daddy that hooked up with Jeffree Star, but it was not Kanye. And the one that did might have met Jeffree at the same party that they met somebody else at. I don't know who that is, Miranda. So, oh. I've been giving people nicknames for years. Listen, Jeffree Star is the original Selena Powell. I remember him from MySpace, and that's why I'm just like, I don't know why people continue to give him a pass, but he was the OG Selena Powell. He used to stay exposing straight men, usually like in the rock arena at that point in time. But he was constantly putting somebody on blast. Oh, you were in my DMs. Oh, you were at my house last night. And like, allegedly, he used to be, I forget what the site was called. I think it was called like Up All Night or something. It used to be like a revenge PORN site that people would expose their exes on. And apparently, like, he was one of the main contributors to that site with like famous people. Like, he don't do that anymore, but he used to be doing that. That's why I was like, him and Corinne Steffen seemed like they were in competition of who could expose more people. But I think some people are just young and maybe forget that. But, ooh, Kim has a humongous lawsuit coming her way, you guys. And it's going to cost her a heck of a lot of money. Ooh. Was it Anyone Up? I know it was something like Up All Night or Is Anyone Up? It was something like that. The guy that started it is like in prison now. So, but yeah. So, Kim, what did you do? I feel like this is attached to Skims, actually. Spirit's talking about a lot of shady business practices that she's in and that she participates in are going to be coming to light over the next 2 years. The next 2 years are going to be really, really hard on this family, but in particular, Kim. There's going to be some more ish that blows up around Dolce and Gabbana, who she's like, you know, in bed with now. Apparently, they've replaced Balenciaga as far as her new problematic fashion design collaboration house that she's working with, which again, Dolce and Gabbana is so horrible. They bullied Selena Gomez. They made slave shoes. They've done blackface stuff constantly. Like, they just are a mess. And on top of it, like, Stefano called that whole family cheap and disgusting in the past. I'm like, why would you want to work with somebody that, like, used to, like, talk so much shit about you publicly? Like, that just shows that she's so freaking, like, she's so freaking, like, just, like, about, like, fame and, you know, oh, I want to be seen as a fashion icon, that she doesn't give a shit about any morals or even, like, standing up for your own self, really. So, I know, right, Sana? Because one of the most popular sayings in Italian is La Dolce Vita, the sweet life. But with Dolce meaning sweet, but they're just the dirtiest, darkest, nastiest people that work for that company. And it was like right before like all the shutdowns, they had a huge controversy of them being completely horrible to Asians, to the point that I think they were supposed to have a fashion show in, I think it was in China, and China kicked them out. And then they like wanted them to close all the stores and not even allow Dolce and Gabbana to sell there anymore because of it. So Kanye was, and that's the funny thing, is that when she started Skims and her and Kanye were still together, she called him her ghost creative director and said that he designs everything from the logo to the packaging to the colors of all of this stuff that they were going to put out, and brought in his whole team from Yeezy to help launch everything for her. And now all of a sudden, you know, but you know what somebody else pointed out too, is that she was talking about the company and some product that they had, and she would say stuff like, oh, it's Skims, we believe in inclusivity. And she would say we as in like the team, but then anytime that she would like hold up a new product, she would say, I designed this, I made this, I wanted this. And they were like, okay, Kim, it's we as in teamwork on like shit that doesn't really matter actually, but like when it comes to somebody actually designing something, I did it. And they're like, yes, Kim, we really believe that you're sitting there with your sketchbook at night designing products and then going to textile factories and weaving everything yourself. It's like, she's such a narcissist. But there's also going to be something that comes out about some of the people that are involved in Skims and them having very dirty dealings. Like, oh, they invested in wars, or they're we're on Epstein Island or some horrible thing, and people saying like, is that where some of the money came from for them to buy into and own their part in this company? And that's going to bring a lot of scrutiny back onto them, and she's going to be trying to distance herself from them and from the whole thing. But people are going to start digging more into this company. Something bad is going down with Skims. And because that's Kim's main moneymaker right now, it's going to drastically affect her. negatively. Also, she's gonna have a really hard time passing the bar when it's time for her to take the bar. She's gonna have a really, really hard time passing it. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't try to figure out a way to pay somebody to pretend to be her and take it for her like she did with the baby bar. She got away with that because we were all locked down then. I don't know if she's going to be able to get away with it if they're going to require her to sit in person. But again, do you guys, this is something else that I've been pointing out that I'm like, well, do people not notice this? What happened to her getting all these innocent people out of jail? How come we don't see her doing any of that anymore? The second that Trump left office, she has not done a single thing to try to help anybody get out of prison. Remember how she would be like at the White House kissing Trump's ass every week? We have to get Julius Jones out. We have to do this for this person. We have not seen her speak out publicly or defend or try to bring attention to anybody's cases. And this is the thing. Kamala Harris was the former AG. Why hasn't Kim tried to go and team up with her? Also, remember the Biden administration promised us that Kamala was supposed to like bring us criminal justice reform, and then they put her in charge of the border. So that looks bad for both sides, but I'm just saying, why wouldn't you try to do that? Is it because you're secretly a Republican, Kimberly? And you're not Miss Democrat liberal that you and your family pretend to be, and maybe you do have more political leanings like your stepdaddy, Caitlyn? And I found it very interesting that Donald Trump called her disingenuous, because he's probably like, this bitch was kissing my freaking ass every day. And now she hasn't ever talked to me, and she hasn't tried to do anything else, and it was just leaning on me to do everything. So Kamala has got the longest BBL recovery in history. It took her 3 fucking years. Or maybe it's just because she kept going back every time she'd recover, she'd go get another round or something. Maybe during the campaigns we're going to see Kamala being like, no, Lotto, guess what? I have the most believable BBL. Nobody even realized that I got one. So, but no, I mean, Kanye did say that there's a lot of celebrities that are secretly Republicans. And I did feel like, oh, he's probably talking about the Kardashians and throwing shade at them. Because it was just really weird that I'm like, this administration kept being, you know, when they were campaigning, all they did was talk about criminal justice reform and Black Lives Matters and all this stuff. And so it's like, if you were constantly saying like, oh, well, you just have to get in spaces with the person that can actually help you, and that's the only reason why you were around Trump, because he was the only one that could use his executive power to pardon these people, then why wouldn't you team up with the team that's claiming that they were going to do all these things? We haven't seen you do anything. So, oh my God, Sana, that is true. That would be hilarious. But also, again, what Black woman have we seen Megan Thee Stallion advocate for? None. She just meant advocate and stand up for me as a Black woman, but I don't care about none of the rest of you hoes, because we've never seen her try to stand up for or defend anybody else. And that's why I'm like, girl, stop expecting people to do things for you that you're not willing to do for anybody else. And stop using that as your excuse for everything, because I'm tired of it. Because we've never seen her advocate for anybody before or after. And what did she ever really do to defend or stand up for or advocate for Breonna Taylor other than put her pictures up and twerk in front of them? She still wasn't really speaking up in her defense. She wasn't really sitting there like saying, oh, well, now that I have this platform, let me advocate for her to get justice. It was literally just, I'm going to plaster her pictures on a screen behind me and twerk and then scream that Black women need to be protected. And then, you know, we haven't seen her say anything about that since. So, exactly. I mean, look at how Tiffany's was getting canceled because everybody like started looking at Lloyd's of London during Black Lives Matters and talking about how they were insuring the slave ships. And then people were like, okay, but also look at Tiffany's because they own all these stolen blood diamonds. And then Tiffany's goes and runs and hires Jay-Z and Beyonce to wear said blood diamonds in their ads to try to distract all of us. And then they're always screaming about Black excellence. Black excellence would be, okay, we went and sat down and had a meeting with Tiffany's and told them they need to give the diamonds back to people in Africa. Not, we're going to go cosplay in them. And that's why I don't support Beyonce and Jay-Z, because they only, Diddy too, they only say that shit to support themselves, not because they care about anybody else. So, which, speaking of, let's move on to Diddy and Miami. Because they have gotten back together for more sugar bearding. Have you noticed that as soon as they separated from each other, nobody was really talking about Diddy? Because it was kind of quiet about him all of a sudden, the second that him and Miami ended that contract. Which, have you also noticed that it's like, listen, that new baby that he has is so beautiful. Like, she literally looks like a little doll. And I don't even want any more kids, but she'd be making my little ovaries go, maybe I should. But he was trotting that baby out and using her for all kinds of attention when it wasn't Miami that he was dragging around. And I was like, the way that he was making it seem was like the baby was never with the mom and it was only ever with him. Like she was his baby and he just gave birth to her himself and he was a single mom with this baby all the time. But if y'all are too young to remember, because again, I'm telling y'all, Miami is the new Cassie. When he was with Cassie, she left him for a while and she went to, I think she was in Africa and she was like doing a movie or some project or something. And everybody was like, they broke up, they're not together anymore. And then I think, I'm trying to remember, there was another guy that people were linking her to during that time. And as soon as people said, oh, other guys are trying to talk to Cassie now, allegedly he flew out to Africa and like made her come back home with him. So, and then right after that was when she shaved the side of her head, and people say that's because he allegedly ripped her braids out of the scalp and that it was a new hairstyle was an excuse for that. So he was so horrible and controlling with Cassie. And every time that she would try to leave him, and then that's why people were saying that like she didn't work again after that, and that he didn't let her have a career, because it's like, oh, you could go to another country and leave me, or end up like going off with another guy, or like being like, oh, well, this guy on set was nice to me and you're not, so like why wouldn't I want to go like have a better relationship? And I don't know, when I saw that they were back together, it just reminded me of that. Like, I was like, oh, he didn't like that she was going around telling everybody that they're not dealing with each other anymore, and that they're just like cool friends now, because he doesn't want any other guy jumping in. And it's like, even though I didn't want to be serious with you, I didn't want to give you a baby, I didn't want to be tied down to you anymore, I felt like you were embarrassing me. The second I feel like, oh, like if some other guy might come take my spot, I'm going to change my mind and come swoop you back up again. Because that's what narcissists do. So, dude, Cassie seems so happy now. Good for her. I know everybody was like, what? Like when she popped up with Mr. Alex Fine, and he is fine. And their babies are so cute together. And listen, do y'all remember, what was it, last year when like Diddy like came out with I Gotta Move On, and Alex like posted for Pride that it was like time for everybody to move on, and if you needed resources to come out of the closet, and like linked phone numbers and shit for like outreach programs. Dude, that was so freaking funny. I was like, he told everybody what everybody been saying, that Diddy likes demons too. Cassie Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Kay. So, oh my God, but that was funny. Like the way that he clapped back at him, I was like, oh man, I bet you anything, like Alex probably wants to like whoop the shit out of Diddy if he could get away with it. So this is the thing that's coming up in the cards, is he really was worried about not having control over Carisha anymore. Because everything with Diddy is about him controlling everything and everybody around him. He wasn't getting, like I said, he wasn't being talked about and acknowledged. This does benefit him financially. I don't know if you guys saw that Rocky For Real, the girl that used to be Joe Budden's best friend on Love and Hip Hop, she said, and she knows, I mean, I know people were like, mind your own business, and like telling her off in blog comments, but she said they have a contract. Carisha still owes him, you know, a couple more episodes of the podcast, and she has an advertising contract with DeLeon. And so, you know, it's like, yeah, they might be hooking up too, but there's also like a financial PR relationship going on here. And that's definitely what's coming up, is they make money together, they bring each other attention. And Diddy likes the idea that he can control a young, pretty girl that's at her prime. And so that's why he came back in and swooped her up. And now look at, he's getting the attention and people are talking about him again. He also uses Carisha for his rituals. Well, both of them use each other for rituals. He's one of her handlers as far as the industry goes too. She's gonna start pushing him though, that she wants to be in a full relationship with him again, because Carisha does not like people thinking that she's sharing a man. And it's gonna be like, can you be more low-key at least, and only publicly claim me, and you can still have other females, but I need you to like not let the public know that these other women are still around. She is going to push him for that, but this is the thing. Even if he promises that to her, and even if he tries to do that, he will get busted again, because these girls like to talk, especially Gina. And Gina ain't going nowhere. She feels like, whatever, I know what time it is with Diddy, and I put up with everything because he provides a life that I wouldn't have on my own. So I'm willing to play all these games with him. And, you know, so I'm always going to be around. Somebody else is going to pop up pregnant by him again. He is nowhere near done having kids. There's more babies coming in. And this is going to devastate Carisha once more because it's not with her. He does not want a baby with her. He does not want a baby with her. It's so weird. It's like, why do you keep like holding on to this girl? You know, she wants more kids. He doesn't want a baby with her. And it might be, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the baby mama again. He really feels like, oh, like I did it perfect this time. This little girl came out so freaking cute. She's perfect. Everybody's obsessed with her. I might as well, you know, I don't feel like I'm done having kids. I might as well have some more with her because we made a cute one. But he's telling Carisha that he's not going to have any more and that was just a slip up. So, because he lies to her and he feels no need to be honest with her. Carisha will lie publicly and tell people, oh, I knew about this or that, or I'm okay with this or that, because she feels like it's embarrassing to her. Like, I try to get ahead of it, and I don't want everybody to know that, like, I'm out here being foolish behind somebody that also likes men and is not a good person. So I'll lie and tell the public that that I was okay or I knew about certain things. She didn't know about that baby ahead of time, and she won't know about this one either. Honestly, Kay, it's not about her being black because he had kids with Kim Porter, who's black. Isn't Chance's mom black? Misa's black. Like, he doesn't have a problem with that. It's Carisha. Like, it's like she's only good enough to him to sleep with and to be seen out publicly with because she's a young, hot person who gets attention because she's in the City Girls and she's always saying dumb things, to the world that gets everybody talking about her again. She knows how to get attention. So it's like, I like the clout and attention that comes from you, but I don't want to be locked in for the rest of my life having to deal with you because we have a baby together. I want to know that when I'm done with you for good, I can walk away and just leave you there and move on to the next thing. And also, people were saying for a long time that he wouldn't give Cassie a baby and that she wanted a baby too. I feel like Diddy has this weird thing with women. Now, I don't know if you guys remember or have ever heard this, but it's like Priscilla Presley said the second that she got pregnant and had her daughter, like Elvis never wanted to touch her again and he started cheating on her. And that's why they like split up when their daughter was pretty young, because she said that she didn't want to be in that marriage anymore where there was no romance and everything, especially when she waited so long to marry him and went through everything that she did to be with him. He cheated on Kim when she was pregnant. Because remember, he had Chance at the same time that she was pregnant with the twins, and he cheated on both of them and went off with J-Lo. I think that Diddy has some weird thing, like it's maybe like a Madonna whore complex, where as soon as like you have his baby, like he kind of thinks of you in only one way, and it's like, now I have to go play with somebody else, and I'll keep you around as like my baby mama and like give you like some level of respect as the mother of my kids, but like I'm not into you that way anymore. It's weird. I'm like, that's kind of the only way that I feel like I can describe it, if that makes sense. And so I feel like as far as Cassie went, it was like, I don't want to have a baby with you because then I won't want to sleep with you anymore. And I feel like he probably feels the same way about Miami. But also Spirit saying like, there's something about Miami that he just doesn't feel like you're the kind of girl that I want to have a kid with. Like, I don't want you to be the mother of my children. Maybe he's afraid that they'll come out as literate as she is. Who knows? I mean, I would be scared if somebody is sitting there telling the world that they get peed on. I wouldn't want to have a kid with that person, would you? Well, I mean, think about it. Because now your kid's going to be embarrassed for the rest of their life. I mean, Misa and Sarah's mom, or Chance's mom, and Kim, they were all really classy and just kind of did their own thing and stayed quiet behind the scenes. They weren't all, you know, in everybody's faces being like, yeah, so guess what? I like to get walked around on a leash like a dog and get pissed on afterwards. Like, no. And that's just, you know, I mean, that might be fun for you to play with because, yeah, like, who doesn't want to freak? But to spend the rest of your life with somebody like that, or to have kids with them, or be super serious with them, like, that just doesn't happen. What do they even talk about? Probably who they want to pee on next, Hannah. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I just wonder if he can even understand her. I mean, I have the hardest time understanding her and Carlos. So, exactly, Sana. He wants the clout, but he likes a somewhat clean image. And if you guys want to know how horrible J-Lo really is, go listen to Eugene Deal talk about when Diddy was dating J-Lo and the way that she was. Because when Kim Porter, because this was when J-Lo and Diddy were sneaking around together before they went public with their relationship, and they were just claiming that he was just producing music for her. And I guess Kim busted them in the studio one night, and allegedly J-Lo called Kim all kinds of bitches and hoes and N-words, and Kim almost knocked her fucking head off for it, and then Diddy dragged Kim out of the studio because of it. And then she was pissed that he didn't defend her and that he kicked her out and let J-Lo sit there and call her all those things. And allegedly that's why they broke up, and then he went public with J-Lo because he was trying to piss Kim off by publicly claiming J-Lo, since Kim told him about himself after that happened. So, and that's why when, I mean, I've always not thought that J-Lo was the greatest person, but then like, when Eugene was saying that and he said that she thinks that she's like a prize because she's, you know, Latina, and oh my God, yeah, of course everybody wants me over you. Because there was a way worse side that was just the synopsis of it, but I think it's on the Art of Dialogue he was talking about it. I was like, ugh. Just confirmed everything I always felt about, like, that she's really grimy behind the scenes. So, Yup. Diddle and J-Ho are both gross. And that's the thing too, though. I'm like, you had black daughters. So even if it was like, oh, like, I want to be with this lady, you should have checked her ass. Like, excuse me, I'm black kids. You can't be talking that way. So, ugh. Exactly. Well, I mean, at this point, when J-Lo's on her, what, 9th husbands? Obviously, she's the issue, and it's not any of these guys, and you can't blame it on the men that she dates anymore. Because how come all of them cheat on you or leave? And I'm just wondering, when are these guys, the same way that Usher is like, no, I'm not going to like mess with Kim because I see what that family does to people. When are guys gonna say, I'm not gonna deal with J-Lo because she also sucks the living soul out of men. And none of her exes are doing too great either when you really think about it. So, ugh, I know, she does, but I'm just like, honestly, and everybody knows that she's a Santeria witch, so I think she'd be using these men too for rituals and sucking all their energy dry the same way the Kardashians do. But all right, guys, if you have any Nicki questions, drop them in the chat and then we will wrap it up. Dude, everybody at the Met Gala this year looked crazy and their outfits were boring as shit. It was not cute. Oh, was she just on Queen Radio? I always miss it. What was she talking about? Did she tell us when she's going to drop the album? Did she say anything about the tour? Oh my God. Yes, please write question in front of it so I don't miss it. I forgot that she was sneaking around with Drake too. Okay, you guys, I was going to address this. The Met Gala is a humongous satanic ritual. Stop begging Nicki to go to that. First of all, Nicki hates industry parties and industry events, and she said that like throughout her entire career. She hates every time that she goes to the Met Gala. She only goes when she, you know, her team pushes her to do it. And Spirit saying she absolutely hates it. She hates the entire process of it. And she just felt like, I don't want to go this year and I don't want to be a part of all of that. So that was, you know, that's why it's like her team is the one that pushes her, convinces her to go the few times that she has. So, but she hates going to it. And Spirit said she just put her foot down this year and was like, I'm not doing that because I don't like it. But she was happy that Ice Spice got to go. And she also felt like she wanted her to have her shine and celebrate her moment and everything. But if you ever see Nicki at any Met Gala again, basically know that like she was forced to be there. So it's so crazy. It's like she's told us all the time that she hates that stuff. Which you can't blame her. Like, why would you want to go? Especially when like they be making you wear these crazy ass themes and outfits and, you know, Spirit saying like she did certain projects and stuff with Karl Lagerfeld on her own and she felt like she's already honored him and it's like I need to go like show off and do all of that. So, and the other thing that I wanted to say to you guys is I know people who follow me, hopefully, most likely, are not playing a part of this, but there is absolutely no excuse or reason to be transphobic to Kim Petras. Nicki has always been a supporter and an icon for the LGBTQIA plus community. She would not appreciate or agree with any of the barbs that I've seen say some horrendous things about this collaboration. There is no excuse for that. If you don't like it, keep your feelings to yourself. But this is the thing. We've all had depression or anxiety or been bullied or felt uncomfortable about ourselves in one way or another. Imagine living like that all the time because you're not comfortable with the body that you're in and you feel like you were born the wrong gender. Have some freaking empathy and sympathy and knock it the fuck off, because that's okay. So yes, Sana, it was everywhere too. It was barbs. Barbs saying that they were not going to celebrate or support that song because they were saying transphobic things about Kim. And this is the thing when it comes to Kim Petras. Most people didn't even know that she was trans until she said something about it. She's a very beautiful, very talented girl. Obviously, Nicki likes her. If you don't want to support it, don't support it, but there's no reason to be hateful. And that's just, it was too much. So I just wanted to say that because it is not okay. And I know when I was pregnant, I could not wait to not be pregnant because I felt like an alien in my body. And at least that was only for 9 months. And that's why I always say, like, I can't imagine being trans and feeling like that my entire life. Like, leave people alone. There's no reason to be a bully. Nicki herself has spoken out about having mental health. Do you think that Kim hasn't struggled with her mental health? And what about all the people that are struggling themselves and look at Kim as an idol and that you're inflicting hatred towards them when you say things about her? So we need to all just be kinder. So I just wanted to say that. And I really like Kim, and she seems like a very sweet girl. So anyways, also, I just have to say, I expected that Kim was going to have more of a German accent. When I was listening to her interviews, I was like, oh my God, like I really thought she was going to have a way stronger accent. I was really surprised that she didn't. She's so cute. And honestly, I was saying this too, to her and Nicki should have been in the damn Barbie movie. Because Kim looks like a real life Barbie. I totally could have seen Kim and Nicki in the Barbie movie, but Warner is producing it. They own Atlantic, so I guess we should all just be happy that they picked Issa Rae to play Black President Barbie and not Carlos, right? So, anyways, Cosmic Fire, yes, but you guys, I'm going to tell you this. Stop asking me if things are going to go #1 or be successful. I don't answer those questions when it comes to Nicki because, again, sometimes some barbs will get lazy because they're like, oh, 4 different psychics said this song's going to go #1, so then they don't stream or support. So Spirit told me to stop answering those questions and just say we just need to support it. So that's what, I'm not answering those questions anymore. We just need to do our part. So I know, you know what? I always have to wait for it to get restreamed on YouTube because AMP just never notifies me. And then when I try to play it back, it gives me errors. Like I can't get it to work for me. And the thing that sucks is, is that I was actually considering doing a podcast on it because, like, they offered me one, and as a creator, and I was just like, can you make the app work though? Because, like, if I can't listen to Nicki, I don't want to go do my own podcast and then nobody can ever freaking hear it. So, no, I feel like it's gonna be received much better though. So, for sure. I mean, listen, only people who are stuck in the past are still, oh, there's a Nicki hate train going on. She's still blackballed in parts of the industry, but guess what? The industry itself is crumbling anyways. So just wait. We're going to see huge changes in the industry. With Titanic Records is going to have their own problems. Billboard is, you know, and the Grammys and institutions like that want to punish and blackball certain artists, because Nicki's not the only one that they fuck with. They're all going to have a really hard time coming up soon. So, you know, just saying, karma will hit, but the whole industry itself is going to have to change. So, and also, y'all, I'm going to just say this too. Pray for Brent Faiyaz. Is that how you say it? Because I saw that he's remaining independent and, like, that he's did some other kind of distribution deal or something like that. I just got really worried for him because when Tory did that, look what happened to him. And anytime that anybody does have a lot of popularity and then tries to stay independent or go independent, then suddenly the industry giants want to fuck with them. So let's keep him in our prayers. But also that means that he hasn't sold his soul and he hasn't sold out, so we can safely listen to him. So, ooh, I know, I'm excited for the album. I'm excited for everything that she's got coming. So, she's definitely been dominating this year. And listen, why are people suddenly trying to say that she was trying to look like Carlos? I'm like, the girl who's never touched her face. If anybody is trying to look like anybody, it's Carlos is trying to look like her. And we've all been pointing that out for years. So it's just like, no, she is not. She's never touched her face. So, oh my God, Carlos's face looked interesting at the Met Gala. Them Getty images were, listen, Getty images will get you every time. They got Kim too, and she looked kind of frightening in some pictures. And I saw on Reddit that people were saying that they were saying it about several different celebrities, but they were like, does anybody notice that it seems like people like that have gotten a lot of procedures done, like the Kardashians, almost like their faces are rejecting all of the fillers and the Botox all of a sudden, and now they all look like the saw face. Definitely agree with that. That one dress that she was wearing with the big old flowers, it reminded me, and with the gray hair, it reminded me of those Barbie cakes that you can get, like from the grocery store, where they just like basically shove the Barbie in the middle of it. And I was like, I guarantee you, because she's such a fucking Yolanda Saldivar stalker, that she probably was all proud of herself. Like, oh, I look like one of those Barbie cakes. Maybe people are going to compare me to Nicki again. because she like lives for being attached to Nicki. But again, she has to, because she wouldn't have any career if she wasn't ever connected to her in the first place, even negatively. So, dude, that wig looked like that they got it out of somebody's grandma's closet and then sprayed freaking Carson sheen all over the top of it. That was bad. And awkward at the same time. It was... And it looked like they didn't even secure those wigs down on her head. Like, they just plopped them on top. But, listen. Everybody needs to start holding that Spanish girl accountable for saying the N-word when she is not black. Also, I've seen people trying to claim that Hispanics say the N-word and that that's a thing that they get away with. Not in California. I have never seen a Spanish person get away with saying something like that. I don't hear them say it first and foremost very often, and anytime that I have heard them say that, it's right before they got dragged. So literally, I've seen people get their freaking heads knocked off for saying that. We don't do that in California. Maybe in New York, y'all think it's cute or something, but it does not happen across the rest of the country. Stop trying to normalize that. Because I keep seeing people saying that, oh, it's okay. They say it. They let Latinos say it all the time. They let Asians say that. I'm like, Asians and Mexicans in California do not talk like that, and they don't get away with that. So, not where I grew up, not where I'm from. And I always thought that was weird as shit when I was, you know, hearing people say that. And listen, yes, there are Afro-Latinas, and yes, there are countries where there are a lot of Afro-Latino people, like the Dominican Republic, like Puerto Rico, even Cuba, even Mexico. But that does not mean that every single person who lives in those Latin or Caribbean countries is automatically Afro-Latino. Some of them are just Spanish and never mixed with any of the black people that landed in those countries because of slavery. So, or migration or whatever reason that they ended up there. So stop just also being like, oh, well, she's Dominican, so that automatically makes her black. She has 2 white parents. Look at her parents. Both of them are white. How come nobody ever claims that her sister is black? How come you don't hear her sister claim to be black? And they allegedly have the same parents. And so it's... People need to stop reaching to make shit up for her. And when they say, oh, her mom is Trini, again, there are non-black people that live in Trinidad, first and foremost, just the same as there are non-black people that live in Jamaica. There's plenty of Asians and British white people that live in Jamaica, and their families have been there for centuries. And they're not black just because they lived in Jamaica. So, again, stop it. Secondly, her mom is from the Dominican Republic, and she moved to Trinidad to work to support her family in the Dominican Republic. Carlos explains that in her interviews with Vlad TV a long time ago. And I think she even said it on Love and Hip Hop, because I've seen clips of her saying that multiple times. So her mom is not a native Trinidadian. Her mom is a Dominican who moved to Trinidad to work in the resort and hotel industry to make money to support her family back in the Dominican, and then moved to America from there. And if she is Trini, how come we have never ever seen her represent that? We've never seen her go to Trinidad. She's never gone and put out any music with any other Caribbeans and been like, oh yeah, I'm representing for my Trinidadian side. My mama's Trini. She's never said any of that. She only ever represents her Spanish side. So if this woman was as black as people want to keep saying she is, why doesn't she do anything to support that side of herself or come out right and say it? She doesn't, because she knows people are going to check her ass and pull receipts on her. So stop it. And when people are like, oh, well, her hair's curly. My hair is curly. Am I black now? Are y'all going to start calling me black because I have curly hair? I mean, I know I got it slicked back right now, but look at my freaking profile picture. My hair is the same texture as hers. Nobody's going around and being like, Bella's black. No, everybody's like, yeah, Italians have curly hair. Oh, you're also Spanish. Spanish people have curly hair. Like, hello. Are Jews suddenly black because they got curly hair? No. Stop reaching and making up excuses for her, because people are making up excuses for her that she's not even making up for her own self. Let her defend herself and paint herself in a corner. But stop doing it for her. Because nobody goes and runs and makes excuses for Nicki or anybody else in the industry. She's the only one that does. So, exactly, Teddy. Exactly. Because it's annoying. And exactly, Lindsay. There is so much colorism in the Hispanic community. It's not even funny. Like, when you do watch telenovelas, everybody that's in it looks even whiter than me. They have blue eyes and blonde hair, and they're paler than I am. And I'm just like, okay, like, did y'all just go to Sweden and find a bunch of Spanish-speaking people from there and import them over to, like, be on these shows? Because it's very odd and not representative at all of what actual Hispanic and Latinos really look like. And they come in a variety of shapes and colors like every other culture does. Yeah, and look at Gina Rodriguez. She's extremely problematic. And she definitely, you know, really is the good representative of the problematicness that comes in that culture sometimes. And I'm not saying every Hispanic person is colorist. I'm just saying there is an issue with that. But colorism runs deep in every community. Italians are like super fucking colorist amongst each other too. And I'm always just like, dude, like, we're all Italian. What does it matter if you're like a light-skinned northerner versus like a darker-skinned southerner? And they do that shit too. It's annoying. But, dude, Carlos definitely would wear Nicki's skin if she could. She's so freaking obsessed with her. It's honestly creepy. And that's why I call her Yolanda now. Because I used to call her Yolanda Saldivar's granddaughter because her grandma that she claimed was super dark skinned looked like Yolanda Saldivar. And then I was like, no, actually, you know what? She is Yolanda herself because she acts like it about Nicki. So now I call her Yolanda. I just say Carlos more because I'm like, well, then people are like, who's Yolanda when I call her that? So well, that's the effect of colonialism, unfortunately. So, and I hope nobody fell for the BS that all of a sudden, you know, they wanted to have a gospel choir, a bunch of black people in a choir singing at the coronation today. That was screaming, even though we were racist against our son's wife and our, you know, we take it back. We're cool. We like black people. Look at, we knew some black people and invited them today. It was like, okay. Y'all are just fucking doing that because all these black countries wanted to remove themselves from the Commonwealth. And after what y'all did to Megan, that made them want to hurry and get the fuck out even faster. So, well, and can I just say one more thing and then I'm going to go, you guys, because my throat is killing me. Is that stop expecting Barb's people who support Nicki again, because I saw people saying, oh my god, Kim Petras is a what do you call were they saying that she was like fake or something like that, or she was betraying Nicki because she was in a picture with, who was it, Glorilla or somebody that Carlos like co-signed or collaborated with or something. Y'all really? Nicki wouldn't even expect that or want that from anybody. She doesn't. And this is the thing. Do y'all expect that Doja, Kim, Ice Spice, anybody else that has publicly said that they're a Barb or supports Nicki or has worked with her, that if they're at an industry event and Carlos is in the same room, or Glorilla, or anybody else that, you know, Carlos gets along with, that they're supposed to run screaming in the opposite direction saying, go fuck yourself, and fuck up their career? Nicki would tell them, don't even do that. I don't want y'all to be doing that. She doesn't expect that of them. She doesn't want them to have drama. She doesn't want stuff like that, because then it just makes it look like she's the bully too. But she doesn't care. It's just like, don't flip on me and turn on me after I co-signed you or gave you an opportunity the way that Megan and some of these other girls did it. That's all she's concerned about. But she doesn't give a fuck like if Ice Spice said hi to Carlos at the Met. So people need to stop with that, because I see people getting mad and being like, oh my god, they're betraying them. They're a joke. They're not real. See, they just use Nicki. And it's like, this is their workplace and those people are their colleagues. And if your mom used to work at Ross and she got fired there, and then somebody that used to also work at Ross came to work at TJ Maxx where you are, y'all ain't gonna fuck up your bag running and screaming because your mom's old coworker from her own old job suddenly works there. So don't think that they need to do the same damn thing. So it's just, it's ridiculous. Knock it off, okay? So anyways, guys, I have to go because not only does my throat hurt, but I also thought that my phone was on the charger this whole time, and apparently it was not, and so now it's gonna die. So I do have to get off of here before it dies. I love everybody. Make sure you like the live on your way out, and if you wanted to book a reading, we do have super discounted ones. They're on the site under services, 15 minutes for $35, 20 minutes for $45, or 30 minutes for $55. There is a few spots open still for next week, but overall, my availability for May is pretty booked up. So book as soon as possible to make sure you still get in. We will have merch in a few more weeks. And if you want to join the Patreon, that is the only place I do requested celebrity videos. And we talk about everything uncensored over there. Is patreon.com/psychicbellalove. And I will see y'all later. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to go take a bunch of NyQuil now. Hopefully that helps and I don't have to end up on antibiotics. I love y'all. Have a good one, guys. Bye.